got a couple ways they can play this. I don't imagine they're gonna go for like an all-in push against extreme fight. Like, it's really hard to high ground heroes like Invoker, Warlock,
10
Earthshaker.
seconds remaining.
So I think that they might go for some sort of late game carry that does have a lot of
5
push
seconds
potential.
remaining.
But I don't know. It really depends on how they want to play this. Like, they could go for like the Vlads on a bat and skip the Midas and
Liquid's
kind of
turn
all
to
in push, but
pick.
I don't feel like that's very strong. I feel like Team Liquid have the tools how to deal with that. So I imagine this game's gonna go something like DC, try to get some early towers, and
Ooh.
then they'll farm it up. All
DC's
right, out
turn
comes the
to
Razor.
pick.
Very good hero in lane, especially against heroes like Abaddon, Dragon Knight, even Maiden. These heroes all have single target stuns. They need to click their abilities on Razor. Razor likes that.
Yep. Also going to be some good use out of that static link is
10
DK, if he's
seconds
not in his
remaining.
dragon form, and Abaddon just kind of have to run at you and chase you down, so should be
5
able to get some good
seconds
damage
remaining.
off of that. DC now on their last pick. I mean, we could still see a Naga, but I don't know if that's really the game for it. What do you think?
I think it's unlikely that it would be a Naga, but Mason does play Dragon Knight, so it is possible that Abed might play a hero like Naga Siren in the safe lane.
We'll see. They are definitely taking their time with this. I think the Razor was a little bit unexpected. And again, I really like that read here from Team Liquid. The single target stuns, the static link. He's going to get a lot out of this and can easily just take fights and push things out with his ultimate here.
I wonder if DC will try to aggro in Shaker Warlock support duo, assuming the Clockwork's offlane, and they don't really want to lane. Okay, here comes the Weaver. Good matchup against the Razor, one of my play heroes, one of his favorite heroes.
Yep, it's actually his most played in the last 30 days, so lots of practice on this.
Yep, I think they're going to aggro with the Weaver just to give Abaddon a better matchup because they definitely do not want to cripple their Abaddon with this style of lineup.
Yeah, so I mean, just in terms of lineups, who do you think is coming out on top here?
I think it's hard to say. I think Liquid might be the better team overall, but DC have a pretty solid strategy, but it's just I don't know. It's always so hard to call from this point because they both have lineups that have their obvious strengths. Team Liquid definitely excel in the late game with their Invoker and massive team fight. Razor also
10
has pretty good
seconds
matchups
remaining.
against some of these heroes, but if DC can get ahead in these lanes, they could definitely
5
snowball
seconds
extremely
remaining.
hard because heroes like Invoker, Warlock, Invoker needs lots of levels, lots of time. Warlock has a very, very long cooldown ultimate, so yeah, it's pretty lane dependent, in my opinion. If DC can get off to a good start, secure Roshan, hit some towers, I think they can definitely run away with this one. But of course, Liquid, very experienced and good team, so just have to see.
Yeah. Who are you most excited to keep an eye on this game? Like which hero, which player do you really want to just keep zoned in on that, you know, their performance is going to be particularly great?
Mr. Harry Potter, of course, Bulba.
Our Abaddon should be pretty interesting here. I mean, you talked about the variation in his builds, and I'm pretty excited to watch this game. Again, this is going to be a best of 3 series between DC, aka the old Onyx squad, the great NA Hope, and our buddies Liquid. So this is it. I'm Android, that's Brax. We're going to start things off with a quick pause, as is Ceremony, and let's talk a little bit about these lanes. I mean, what should be going well? What's going to be really difficult to deal with?
If DC do choose to aggro with the Weaver, I think that'll be an extremely hard lane for Liquid to deal with. Razor, not the best hero against Liquid, or sorry, against Razor, and Earthshaker, not the most lane presence in the world either. Actually, okay, it is the support Shaker and offlane Clock.
Yep, G8's
So
going to
yeah,
be playing
pretty
that.
much Weaver's lane is gonna be pretty good if he's aggro. My client is actually bugged, so I'm
Alright, we will miss you. I think there's a couple of bugs going in and out here. We've had a couple of wonky replays, but shouldn't be too much. Again, we can just go through and talk about lineups here. On the side of DC, we have got our boy Bulba on the Abaddon. It's going to be Abed playing that mid DK. Crystal Maiden, our support, going to be played by Demon. We've got Mason on this position 1 Weaver. And finally Dubu, going to be snapping up that support Monkey King. Over on the side of Liquid, we have got up here Kuroki, going to be playing the support Warlock. Our offlane Clockwork, played by Mind Control Invoker. Up in the mid lane, Miracle, going to be trying his hand at that. Support Shaker over here, like we talked about, played by GH. And finally, Razor. A lot of weight on Matama Man's shoulders, but if anyone can pull it off, it's him. So everything's getting started. Looks like we've got a deep ward placed in, some dire vision going down, seeing Mason scoot about. Radiant just getting a ward here, making sure there's no rotations in from mind control, but everything pretty calm right now. Brax gonna be coming back in, and we'll hand it over to him.
Ooh, I thought I made a big error, but I'm back.
What did you do? Like leave the lobby?
No, my game was stuck on player perspective because I was watching a replay. So I watched a different game, like a random game, and then I switched it there, and then I came back into the game, and I was worried I couldn't reconnect to the game, but... Alright, looks like...
Great story.
Thank you, I'm full now. It looks like DC are opting to just Iron Talent their Abaddon instead of playing him against the Razor, and instead just secure the... I imagine Weaver is going to get like a head start in the lane, and then CM and Monkey King will decide to rotate up to top lane once Abaddon feels like he's ready. But, nope, they're choosing not to challenge the lanes for now.
Bulba getting off a pretty nice block mid, and yeah, I mean, again, Abed on this DK up against Miracle. We talked a little bit about it in draft, but what do you expect to happen here in terms of power spikes, levels, and farm?
I expect DC to play heavily around Abed's level 6 when he has that Dragon form and that stun. He can start the pressure Invoker, hit his tower a bit, but until then, it's pretty Invoker favored. He has a lot of damage on DK, especially when he gets to like level 3 and 4, brings out the Alacrity. So, I mean, it's not a fun matchup for DK.
Yep, gonna be taking a little bit of damage there. Goes for the first point Breathe Fire just to help potentially secure some CS, leaving him a little vulnerable into level 2 and he can get that Dragon Blood. Down bottom, it's gonna be 3 heroes versus Mind Control. I mean, can Clockwork withstand this, especially really aggressive heroes like Monkey King? They're going to want to keep up the harass. Is this something Mind Control can lane against, or does he have to bail out?
He can definitely lane, but it's not going to be the most comfortable lane for him. DC has stacked the hard camp, so once Weaver starts pushing this lane, and they can keep denying him experience and waves and pretty zone him. You see Dubu has skilled up the Jingu Mastery. This is a ridiculously hard spell to lane against once he gets that stacks going. Pretty much no offlaner can man up through it. So, but you know, Clockwork, one of the best offlane heroes at finding his experience. He cog back the wave and keep pulling it back, but this is when it gets kind of tough. It's gonna be hard for him to really move out in lane, and GH is actually going to snipe on the courier. He's smoked up with boots. Can he actually get this?
One more, man, he's chasing it.
Oh
yes, he
God.
does. He gets it down, GH, with the smoke and the boots. The move speed was just barely enough, and he gets exactly what he wants, which means crippling Abed here, who, yeah, he needs shoes of his own. There is going to be GH going forward, traps him with the fissure. Miracle, not really going to be able to find a kill off of this. Does have the Sunstrike ready, but with only 2 points in Exhort, it's not going to be doing a whole lot.
Alright, so he caught the courier by only having 5 moves.
That's fair.
If he like pulled out a Monkey King ranged auto attack for that last one too.
Yep.
Mind Control actually gonna catch Demon here.
Demon has that one freeze, just trying to cut his way out of cogs. This time the Sunstrike will come in, and the combination with the fissure is more than enough. Mind Control snaps up the first blood, so a little bit more money going his way, some good experience as he ticks over level 2. Very nicely played.
Dubu returns the courier snipe action on the mid lane actually. He was hiding behind the lane, disguised. He actually manages to snipe that one too.
Yep, now picks up an Invis Rune, potentially trying to turn things onto Miracle, but that's a tricky kill as Invoker's playing pretty safe and can keep some good distance between him and the DK.
Invoker does walk up. He could potentially die, especially with Dubu hitting his level 2 now.
Miracle just going to be walking back up, going to be starting to stack up the Jingu Mastery, but Dubu just walks right away, just ticks up to his level 2, so we'll see what he grabs next. Meanwhile...
GH's presence in the bottom lane has actually pretty much forced out the supports from deep left Weaver to solo ever since he got that nice CM kill.
Yep, I mean Mason's farm isn't suffering too much. Weaver one of those heroes that can keep himself safe. Meanwhile, Miracle in the mid lane going for the Sunstrike, trying to get some hit onto Dubu, but Dubu going to be running back. The Cold Snap now going to wear thin. Miracle just keeping himself safe, salving up, so no bloodshed mid lane. But yeah, back down bottom, Weaver, I mean, it's not going to be as powerful of a lane as it was before. They're not going to be able to continually chain kill Mind Control, but Mason will still farm, will still get his levels very quickly.
Yep, but all of a sudden this lane that looked pretty difficult for Clockwork looks pretty easy now. He's having a good time. He's picked up 10 CS.
Yep, already level 3.5 for himself. Up in this top lane, Bulba just playing very safe, almost level 4 for himself. just staying way far back, making sure there's no possibility that Matumba Man can just run him down.
Abed is very far mid lane, but Invoker doesn't have too much mana to work with, but they could potentially block Abed off on the cliff. Looks like it's quite unlikely, but I'm more worried for DC here. They're one lane that was supposed to go very well for them, but not going so well. Abaddon has a horrible matchup against the Razor. He's not going to be able to do a whole lot there.
Yeah, DC, I mean, the good news is their Weaver's getting farm, and now with the supports coming back down to bottom, they might be able to find a kill on Mind Control. Meanwhile, up top, Abaddon in a ton of trouble. Bulba trapped in by that fissure, trying to make his way towards the shrine. Meanwhile, Matumba Man just soaking up all of that damage. It's just rolling forward. Only needs a couple more auto attacks before Bulba is done. And that's going to be a deny. He actually gets off the deny with his miscoil, so well played Abaddon, but still means this lane is left defenseless, and this tower probably going down as Matumba Man gets the most out of that extra damage.
Yeah, tons of extra damage with the Ring Bassi as well.
Ooh, okay.
Harry Potter out of the game. He wants out. Let's go to the next game, guys.
Invisibility cloak as he just removes himself here, but yeah, we'll hopefully have a reconnect pretty soon. Kill score 1-1 in terms of, you know, last hits. Razor's doing really well for himself. DK's getting a lot out of the mid, though. Actually given a fair amount of harass to Miracle. DC definitely have a more tricky road ahead. As you mentioned, Liquid are getting farm on all the important heroes it's important to get farm on. But what does DC's path back into this look like? What is their mid game going to be?
They definitely still have, like, all these heroes that are really strong at fighting together. DK, he's tanky, Abaddon, shields, and their 5-man is just really, really strong right now. It's strong before Liquid get damaged. Once they get damaged and they can cut through these tanky heroes like DK, they can deal with the elusive Weaver, that's when it gets a bit troublesome. But Bulba TP's back up to the top lane, and GH just pulls the creeps away. He's got a ward behind the tower. Bulba might be in some danger if he can fissure block him off.
GH gonna be moving
looks like
forward.
a free tower.
Fortify comes out, but of course you just fortify because why not? There was a shrine used here in the bottom lane, so all these supports now fresh up with mana. They might try to go in and maybe catch out GH off guard. As he is just going to be jumped on by the Monkey King, grabbing that Primal Spring. Going to be stacking up the Jingu Mastery as well. Now Abaddon moves forward, and this looks like it could be a big kill. GH just going to be healed up by his Warlock, but it won't be enough. That's going to be Dubu snapping up a kill there. They go for the Boundless Strike, and now Matumba Man in some trouble here. Gets frozen, and will go down. So Demon getting credit for that one. That was Liquid just playing a little bit sloppy there.
Bit of a strange play there, but, you know, DC, there to capitalize. They get a lot there. Actually, they get much more than they should. Yeah, they're definitely awake. Big kill on the Razor. That tower is all of a sudden not dead. And Abaddon's getting close to level 6. You know, the worst thing about that is when you TP out and then you die. Now you have 80 seconds left on your teleport cooldown. You gotta make the long walk of shame back to your lane. It just feels pretty bad.
It does indeed. DC sending their supports here, just kind of poking around the jungle. Looks like they might find Matumba Man as he walks back through, but lacking the resources to take him out. So just going to be a regroup towards this top lane as DC picking up a little bit more momentum, actually cornering Kuroki back under his tower. And with the rotation of the supports, they might be able to take this. Monkey King jumping all about. Meanwhile, Matumba Man does find the leash onto Abed. Abed just continuing to press forward, but without any damage.
So much damage.
Yeah, this is going to be really difficult. Abed now hitting for a whopping none. Sunstrike coming forward. Man, Demon is just in a world of hurt. Trying to play Ring Around the Rosie. Is he actually getting away with this? Wow, he cuts a path to freedom, goes for the TP, and Liquid just don't have the catch. They don't have any AoE vision.
Yep, Jimmy bringing out his classic maneuver there, the tree juke into the TP. And now they've forced a lot of rotation to mid lane. Miracle
going forward, they catch him with the Boundless Strike. Miracle's going to go ahead and invis himself, and well, there's not a whole lot that DC can do about that. Just going to be using Abed's Dragon Form to pressure this tower, and Fortify comes out nice and early. Just going to be trying to mitigate the damage done to that. Supports still hanging around the mid lane. Dubu is very low mana, so can't go in for any more Boundless Strikes or anything like that, as GH pokes his head forward, ready to initiate with a fissure if needed, but it seems like it's just going to be a bit of a stalemate around this mid lane. Although with Razor TPing in, it seems like Liquid really want to make a hold here.
Demon's in some trouble here. He's got no TP available. He's gonna get linked up as well.
Alright, this time it seems like Demon might be super dead. He's running away. The Sunstrike comes in. Demon gonna try to juke, but Miracle still grabs up the kill for that. So easy pickings on that position 5 support, but All the core is still staying safe down in this bottom lane. Mason still farming away, top of the last hit chart and the net worth chart as well.
Yep, and now a bit of a wasted Dragonite ult. They've only gotten, they got about 500 damage off that DK ult, but they can't really do anything else now. Good response from Liquid. They take that tower, TP in the forces. They're able to catch out the Crystal Maiden, and this looks pretty. I don't know. This game is weird. Right now, Warlock's on level 4, but he has the space needed to like just sit in a lane and farm. There's no real threat. Razor can rotate wherever he wants to go, going for that Hand of Midas. I imagine he's going to wait for that before he really goes or does anything. And this game just plays around this Dragonite ultimate for DC right now.
Yeah, this has been called the Midas Major, and we're going to see no exception here. We've already got a couple of Hand of Midases queued up, so...
This Major is just a giant plug for Midas mode.
I'm pretty excited. Yeah, Midas mode coming soon to a tournament near you. Anyway, Miracle going to be surrounded upon Radiant, really getting their supports in here. There's going to be dire pings as they see Monkey King hopping around. Might be trying to go in and slap him down, but they got to take a real educated guess there to clip him. So, Fissure going to be spent out onto Abed as well. Cold Snap comes in, going to be hit by the Meteor. Even with 2 points in Dragon's Blood, he is super low. Not quite enough damage to kill him off. Is he going to walk into the Sunstrike? No, he jukes it around.
So close.
Takes a flare, but it's not enough to kill him. Abed's still alive, and well, these 3 supports wasting a little bit of time as well. Mason finally leaving bottom lane, scooting in, going on to Kuroki, who they know still does not have an ultimate. There's going to be that Fissure to block out Mason, but Kuroki still taking a ton of damage. Dubu goes in a little bit too far, all alone, will be killed off, and now Mason just going to try to find his way out of this fight, but he might actually get caught here. They've got Fissure up in 1 more second. He will scooch his way across the river as the rest of DC is going to be regrouping mid, so Liquid getting everyone together in this mid lane while Abba's still pushing top. Still should be enough to find potentially a kill here. The Fissure comes in. Sunstrike onto Abed, just barely not enough.
Close.
This guy has got a Guardian Angel looking after him. He keeps living with just a sliver of health.
There's definitely some favoritism going on somewhere in the world here. How is he alive? Nice haster in there, but man, that was a great Fissure from GH. Blocks off Mason there. Dubu jumps in with no way to really get reinforced there. Just wasted efforts there. But it looks like DC are eventually going to chip down this tower.
Another meatball clips straight onto Abed. Demon, okay, all right.
Tower
taken a little bit too far there. Now there is going to be another Fissure clipping onto Abed here as Dragon Form wearing thin. They drop out the first Chaotic Offering, but Mason runs right away. This tower left at 25 HP. An easy deny if they can find it. Mason, Sunstrike going to be off the mark. He makes it up to the high ground, snaps up a rune, and well, mid lane tower is going to be able to go and get denied by Earthshaker.
Yep, this is all space for the mastermind Harry Potter himself playing the Abaddon top lane. He's going for the Vladimir's Offering build, the team-based, you know, they want to group up, push. That's what it really shows from them. And even though the tower mid was denied, it's still a pretty big victory.
Dubu gonna escape the Sunstrike just barely and finally makes it up to the trees. We'll be able to escape death for now, but this tower is not looking too healthy.
This tower is not long for this world, and Liquid are making their way down.
Yeah, Abed coming forward. The Boundless Strike does clip onto the Razor, but a Fissure and now some damage deal. Abed has to try to run, but yeah, again, with that static link being the range that it is, it makes it very difficult. So yeah, Razor now with an extra 141 damage from that static link. That is so tricky to deal with. Demon caught out here. There is going to be a Dragon Form from Abed trying to protect his teammates, but Jimmy's already done.
Nice.
And Abed is going to get stunned by the Fissure, dragged onto by the hook shot, stuck in the cogs and killed off. It's just going to be Mason versus the world, but he can't quite do enough damage with the follow-up from the Boundless Strike. They will be able to find 3. All right, they're turning this right around. Mind Control going to be TPing out. They don't have any stuns for that, but a Bloody Engage will still go the way of DC.
Yep, and that's a tower defended to get the deny off on the tower if they want it. But meanwhile, Kuroki sitting top lane, farming his nifty Hand of Midas, is almost there. And he says, thanks team, space created.
Yep, Warlock finally getting some time to himself. Abaddon getting very, very close to that Vladimir's Offering. I mean, how's that going to change things for his team? Is he going to start to really stick together with him, or is he still going to try to do his own thing?
He'll probably use it to try to open up the map and take some of these tier 1 towers. I imagine that they'll group up, try to get some of these out of the game. But all this fighting has kind of left Abed in kind of an awkward spot. There's no mid tower to take anymore. He pretty much, like, it's so awkward for him to farm now. You know, he wants to get to these towers, push, but he doesn't really have an item completed yet. He's almost, well, not really almost at the armor, he just has the gloves. He's not going to go back for a hand of Midas and keep farming in this game, but he's starting to slip down in terms of net worth.
Demon.
Where he'd like to be.
Oh, his Crystal Maiden's just chain dying. It's so unfortunate that she's just, you know, caught out on her own. They might be able to turn this into a tower for DC though. Kuroki hanging out behind the tower has that chaotic offering ready. Monkey King's TPing out. Abed wants it and will be able to get it. No deny coming out from the Warlock there. Fight mid lane about to break out as Miracle just really wants to push this lane. Bulba's there to defend though. They will get the static link off on him. He's going to immediately pop the borrowed time and run back. A static link on cooldown for almost 30 seconds. Can DC find their window here? Looks like they're going to play safe.
I think the Rocket Flare scouted out the Monkey King freeze, so they're pretty wary of his positioning now. And Weaver's split push in the bottom lane. He does have a TP, so if they die, he'll probably respond and proceed to clean up. But Kuroki does have his ultimate up now, and Team Liquid are giving him the old wraparound, looking for heroes under the tower.
Yep, Mind Control's hook shots have been pretty gosh darn good. Dubu hanging out here. Does have that Wukong's command, and with so many heroes in a small radius, it might be time to use it. Dubu is actually just going to chill, as there is a unfortunate another kill on Demon in about 30 seconds. So Crystal Maiden 1-6, definitely not having the best game of her life, but is opening up some space for teammates to push in. Abed feeling pretty safe top lane. This tower mid finally does fall after several minutes of Liquid's pressure.
Come on, Jimmy, you gotta stay alive for that aura, man. That's why you're here.
That is true. CM has 3 points in aura, but hasn't been alive long enough to really get that impact going. Monkey King, yeah, pinged out. And they are just going to drop the golems. It breaks all the trees, and now Monkey King is stunned for a zillion years. The Sunstrike comes in, and Miracle finds another one. Good combo there from Liquid, just using all the resources at their disposal. Golems are now down, but I think you'll take that for a free lane and some Monkey King death.
Yep, we got 5 kills on Miracles and Broker. Now he's got tons of Sunstrike kills this game. And Liquid are totally fine just dropping the ultimate like that, because DC are a team that need to group up, so once they can get these kills on these heroes behind like that, it makes it really difficult for DC to do anything afterwards. They need to get these lanes back. Kuroki's in quite some trouble.
No, I think Mason's the one in trouble. There's going to be Weaver just slapped down. No chance to time-lapse. Warlock, I mean, he may go down here. Kuroki gets hit by the Boundless Strike. Is going to get burned by Abed, but his Golem's still up. Wukong's command comes out after there is no one left in the circle, so Dubu not going to get a whole lot of use out of that. Mind Control now on the run. Fissure holds back too. Very nice play there from GH, and well, he's just going to be escaping. Mind Control using the cogs to break up the fight. Will he make it back across the river? He sure will, as Bulba runs in and does get that mana burn going. Demon barely lives, is able to split the difference in that Sunstrike with Abed, but that could have been another death. At least Demon's still up and running, got that aura going.
That's right, supplying his team with mana. He's kind of like the water boy, you know, at like a football game. Don't worry, guys, I got the drinks. That's what it kind of feels like.
He's got the smokes, he's got the dust, he's got the ward. This is a position 6 Demon right now. Just trying his best, but, you know, if he can make space for his teammates, it's going all right in terms of overall net worth. You got Weaver doing really well for himself, Mason, very close to that Lincoln Sphere.
Yep, it was a nice Weaver pickup there. They have the Fissure into the Sunstrike combo, and there's enough damage to actually finish Weaver. He has a very tanky build this game, too. Mason went for the Treads instead of the Bootless build. So he was sitting on 1500 HP, and not the easiest target to bring down, but they were able to do it there before he could get off his ultimate.
Big rotation in. DC just going to all smoke up, and they've got their lines drawn in the sand. They want to just charge in towards this tier 2, and if they can find a kill on Matubaman, that would be super ideal right now. This Razor getting a lot of space. Dubu just jumping around, and he's going to be Proudmouse bringing down. This Razor is looking mighty dead. He's got a bunch of heroes behind him, but Jimmy. Invoker can just solo down a Crystal Maiden with 1 Sunstrike. There were no other forces of damage on her. It was just the Sunstrike that kills her.
570 damage Sunstrike does 90% of Crystal.
That is difficult to deal with.
They can rocket and Sunstrike the fountain and kill him for full health.
We'll see if they get that combo going. I mean, there's only so much you can get out of just chain killing a Crystal Maiden. Eventually you gotta deal with these cores, but sure is helping Liquid's net worth out here.
Yep, they do get the Razor for that, so DC are up top pushing this, and looks like Liquid do want to take this fight. Razor's up in 2 seconds.
Yep. Mason here trying to do his damage. Still hasn't picked up the Lincoln Sphere. Hasn't really found any time to himself. He's now just been moving with his team since leaving that bot lane, so hopefully his big item will come out off of this and he doesn't get killed right before picking it up. That would be so bittersweet. Hook shot off the mark here, so Mind Control has to play it safe for a minute. They lost a big initiation pool. So it's just kind of a wall. Liquid trying to form some sort of barrier against the damage from DC. Meatball comes out, Fissure clips onto the DK, but it's all just casual damage now. This static link is going to be doing a lot as Matumba Man picks himself up another 100 extra damage. The tower does fall to DK, and that's going to be all that DC were looking for. So they just TP out, take their freedom, and run with it.
Yep, nice tower kill from DC. That hook shot would have definitely led to a big team fight. Abed has the juke shoes on, does not get hit by that one. And I think DC kind of get lucky there. I think if that hook shot lands, they're going to be locked into a team fight that they might not want to take. There's so much damage right now from Invoker. He's extremely, he's got his maxed out points in Exor right now. Sunstrike hits for a ton of damage, along with the Meatball. Yeah, and that's also the Warlock ultimate that they avoid fighting into. They get out with a pretty big win there.
Yep. Getting pings here as Dubu's just keeping eyes on Miracle. I mean, Miracle's getting really out of control. He had such an early Ags and Blink picked up very shortly, unless he gets killed here, but oh, he Ghost Walks, will be dusted, so he's just going to bail out on the Ghost Walk. Boba trying to keep up the chase. Sunstrike comes in. Wow, okay, Miracle. You could just take out a full health Monkey King, that's fine. Now he's going to be still running for his life. Does pop out the Ice Wall, and Abed going to be slowed down. Nice EMP, going to be burning up all the mana in the vicinity, but Miracle does still go down. He forces out mass rotations in from DC, so at least buying his team time as they're able to take this bottom tower. That's some space created right there.
Who's ganking who here? Miracle makes it out with the kill there, and now all of a sudden Liquid will put the bottom tower.
Abba comes in immediately, just going to get all his health drained, and yep, forced into that borrowed time. His ult's going to be down. He does no damage. And wow, okay, hookshot in as Abed thinks he can take on the entire team. But I don't know about that, buddy. It's not looking so easy. That's going to be a 2-0 as Dubu pops out a pretty late Wukong's command. And he's just trying to stay in the circle. But GH manning up on him. Dubu somehow lives through it. Razor going to be going down. And Dubu is still alive. Crystal Maiden going to be ulting. Dubu, my god.
What?
Somehow able to live through this with the mischief. Oh my goodness, Monkey King. Sunstrike not going to be on the mark there. That would have been a great way to end things out, but unfortunately, Miracle has to settle for not getting all the kills he wanted in that fight. Well played there by DC.
Yeah, it really looked like Team Liquid had everything they needed to win that fight. They got the massive static link damage off, and Abed even dropped in that fight extremely early, but Wukong's command, even with no items, did so much damage. Sunstrike number 2 gonna miss.
Invoker's just hunting. He knows that Dubu's somewhere nearby and really wants that kill, but looks like Dubu will finally take the key to move back into his base.
Okay, so we've got some big items coming up with DC. Weaver has his Lincolns and almost Desolator completed. Abed is pretty close to PQ. He's actually about halfway there, not that close. Jimmy working on his Sage's Mask, extremely close to that medallion pickup.
He'll get that Sage's Mask eventually, man. It's a big save.
It is, though. It's medallion. It's good.
Yep.
And Bulba's halfway to Relic, so not bad.
Abaddon's had a lot of space to himself this game. I mean, I feel like Abaddon offlane is just considerably undervalued. You leave him alone for a long enough time because the rest of your team's getting active, and then all of a sudden Abaddon just runs at you with like 4 items, and it's really hard to get him down. But yeah, I think Razor has been pretty effective. You just go in, Abaddon tries to run at you to get that curse going, and yeah, you just static link him, and suddenly he does nothing.
Yep, it's definitely a good counter to the hero. GH actually just picked up his Blink Dagger on the Earthshaker, and they were setting up a gank on the bottom lane, but they did have a nice Observer Ward that just died, so Mason avoids that gank.
Miracle now with the Arcane Rune on top of the freshly picked up Blink Ags Invoker. Miracle is just ready to kill. We'll see if he can find anything. Crystal Maiden gonna get pinged out. Unfortunately, Sunstrike can't take her down all the way from full health. They gotta get some damage before that. Miracle a little late to the party here to smoke, but the rest of his team will be backing him.
Yep, he's got an Arcane Rune here ready to fight, so if they do find an engagement, it could be pretty bad here for Team DC.
Monkey King just trying to push out this lane, trying to force back some rotations, make some space. DC have got to know something's going on, because this lane is real pushed, and Liquid aren't rotating back to deal with it.
Yep, this is quite the obvious indicator here that Team Liquid are grouped up on their side of the map.
You can see the drawings on the map that DC are drawing. They know exactly what's here. So, again, Monkey King just being a brat, pushing into that tier 3 tower, and Liquid eventually are just going to go home empty-handed. They'll clear out the Radiant jungle, or at least use their Midases and try to push.
And that's pretty big for DC, actually. 400 damage onto a tier 3 tower like that for free.
DC, I mean, they're taking their sweet time if they want to defend this tier 2 bottom. It looks like it will be a free hit. Razor going to be snapping up the gold for that, and he now has his full Sange and Yasha, so Razor's now going to be really speedy and difficult to deal with. He can get into pretty much any fight with those bots, and he can just keep running at you, getting the most out of that static link. He's not quite tanky enough to be that like big frontlining Razor that we used to see in the old meta, but Matumpa Man's still playing this fantastically.
He'll definitely get there, get a bit of a rocky start. He's got 4 deaths to his name, but ever since he picked up those boots of travels and Hand of Midas, he's been farming pretty well.
Miracle here just going in. Will be grabbing himself his own Lincoln Sphere as there's a fair amount of single target coming out of DC. I mean, Miracle's getting pretty crazy out of control. 13,000 net worth for himself. Compare that to Weaver, who spent most of the game free farming. Not even quite at that point. Although Weaver is going to be pretty hard to lock down. They are going to be able to get off that time lapse and just walk away. So failed gank coming out. Everyone going to take some bugs. Tornado coming back in, but they can't turn this. They go for the fissure, but just going to be a quick TP out. Monkey King comes forward. They actually cancel the TP with the Boundless Strike, and Mason finds himself a kill. Well played.
What happened there? GH just like didn't get the chain stun off there, and Weaver just got his time lapse off before any real damage came in. It just looked so weird. You know,
it looked like they just
committed the Echo Slam for it too. They really wanted it.
Yeah, they didn't quite get that communication going on how they chain stun Mason, and he just ended up turning it right back around, courtesy of a nice rotation in from the Monkey King. Dubu, again, goes for that Hand of Midas, a bit of a greedier build than we see on a lot of MKs, but he'll get there eventually. Now has the Basher queued up, so going to start to transition into more of that core role and getting a lot of that Wukong's command.
Yeah, I think the Midas on Monkey King is very, very good. He's a hero that does a lot when he gets these small items, and if he can just make it to Basher, then his next item after that, he can be extremely strong in these team fights. And this game does look like it's going to be quite a long game. I don't see DC being able to break open Team Liquid's base anytime soon. Invoker is very high level. Shaker has his Blink Dagger up. Also pushing into Warlock is not an easy task at all.
Yeah, DC now grouping up. I mean, they're pushing out this top lane over and over, but the tier 2's down. They've still got tier 2s to deal with in mid and bottom, but it seems like top is their go. They want to clear out this jungle, and now Mind Control just kind of skirting behind this patch of trees. Mason's going to ping him out. Mid lane, though, you got 3 heroes roaming together, and this could be a good spot to move in and on. Looks like DC will get that call to kind of wrap around, leave the jungle. Roshan.
I wonder when these teams are going to start looking at because they both kind of need it to get to that next step in their game. You know, DC really can't walk up the hill unless they get an excellent team fight ahead of time. There's just too many big team fights, ultimates, and abilities from Team Liquid right now.
Yeah, Liquid's high ground is a little crazy. It's really good if all their heroes are up, but you get 2 or 3 heroes in a pick and suddenly their racks are just wide open.
Radiant's completed now, under bad.
Everyone posturing up to go into Roche is, yep, Elba's going to pop some smokes, and he's going to go ahead and take a static link. They will hold her in place with that fissure, but the rest of the team are moving forward. Matumpa Man, even with a zillion extra damage, getting very, very low, has to get forced to freedom. Mason showing off that new BKB, wants to move forward and find the kill, and Kuroki needs one more hit. Doesn't get that geminated attack that he needed to get the kill, and now looks like Mason's in trouble here. Does go down. That bug just crawls a little bit too far forward. Golem's spent, and they're going to be able to push this lane a fair amount. It looks like Liquid were thinking about Roche, but now, after killing off the Weaver, they just want to go straight forward for tier 2s, but Dubu gets off a really nice Wukong's command, followed up with that Boundless Strike, and now Miracle's in some trouble. The Monkeys, can they finish him off? They do! The Invoker goes down. That's a pretty big bounty going the way of Dubu, who almost gets finished off by the Flare. Oh man, Matumba Man is just a little bit too low to finish him off. Dubu still taking damage from the Fatal Bonds. It looks like Crystal Maiden finally comes in and helps Abed find a kill onto GH. Kuroki eventually gets credit for the kill onto Dubu as he dies from Fatal Bonds. Matumba Man continues to walk away, but it's looking like this Roche is going to remain unclaimed until everyone respawns.
Yeah, that was excellent Wukong's command. They all got baited in, ran into it. Miracle actually died to the last monkey at the very corner of it. It was extremely unfortunate.
He was tased in freedom. He was just right there, but the monkeys got in one more hit.
Yep, but now Monkey King has a basher.
That's going to make the next Wukong's command even nastier, and we'll see if Liquid learn their lesson about not grouping up and not getting baited in, pulled too far towards the towers.
Dire's bottom tower is
So,
under attack.
I mean, who's in a better position to take Roshan? It looks like DC are making their way towards the pit, but again, Invoker will be up in 8 seconds, and quick Sunstrike could really turn this around.
Yeah, they feel like now that since Warlock's ultimate's down and Earthshaker's ultimate is down, they should contest Roshan. But Team Liquid still do have a lot of spells at their disposal. Tornado, EMP, Clockwork, Hookshot, all these abilities make it very difficult for DC just to do Roshan to turn in their face. They're going to have to try to bait some sort of team fight, make Team Liquid commit to something that they might not want to. And Bulba's going to get damage still on mid lane. He might get his ultimate proc as well if he does.
Yep.
That's pretty big.
Now hitting for not a whole lot. Matumba Man ready to go in. 175 extra damage on him, and that is Roche in the can. They're going forward, melting his armor, but DC, they don't want to let this go for free. How quickly can they really get in the area? They scan it out. They know this is a multi-hero effort. Now, oh god, they get the hook shot onto Dubu. He's going to be leaping away. Now Clockwork stuck in here, trapped in the little neutral pit. Earthshaker going to be focused down. Mason able to snap up that kill and chasing away the other two cores. Mind Control on the cliff. Demon's going to be dancing and will get the kill onto the Clockwork. Deafening Blast comes in and holds back the Dragon Knight. Crystal Maiden does have to trade her life for that. DC still really intent on taking this Roshan. Meatball coming into the pit, and this could do a serious number to the rest of DC's core. So Wukong's command comes in just to zone as they just really want this Roshan. Finally, they find it. Mason picks up the Aegis, and they're going to keep pressing forward, even through the ice wall. They will get the kill on Kuroki.
Alright, successful fight for DC. They claim the Aegis and some kills. And Dubu's bringing out the bad-mannered paws.
No, I don't think that's a BM pause. I think that's a someone tripped on the router cable pause.
Well, that's the guys. Quick, disconnect. I gotta pause.
As a professional NA player, you know the deal, right?
Of course, that's what happens all the time when people's door. They're laughing at you.
All right, so DC, again, we can talk a little bit about their backstory here in this pause. The former Onyx squad getting picked up, just a bunch of NA players getting into it, qualifying for this major. It's going to be their first shot at a really big event for this squad together, at least. Of course, Mason's already been to TIs and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, DC, they've got some polishing to do, but since the formation of Onyx, these guys have really come together to playing cohesively, and they're taking games off of Tier 1 teams. What do you think is so crucial to their development, and what really sets them apart from other, Tier 2 NA teams?
I think they have a pretty solid foundation of how they want to play the game. They understand each other pretty well, so it's easy for them to, like, when they go into the team fights, you can see, like, it looks well. Everything looks really good. Everyone's getting force-staffed out. People are, playing these team fights properly. They're baiting people into the Wukong's command instead of, waiting and not using it very well. I just think that they have a good leader in Dubu. He has ideas, people trust him, and they all understand how each other likes, how they want to play. And I think they have these basic building blocks for their team, and they also have quite they have some very individually skilled players in Abed, of course, and all these other players are also very, very good. Abed kind of he's not really new, he's played on teams for quite some time, but he's always been in the Southeast Asian scene. He's a bit more, I would say it's like a sleeper scene, we don't really watch it a whole lot. They're definitely very good players. Their TNC came out of there, and they look fantastic right now. But, I don't know, it's just a combination of their teamwork, and they have a solid idea of how they want to play the game. And I think that's important, because sometimes as teams win and lose, they lose their foundation of how they play the game. They start to not really trust it as much. Maybe they don't believe in someone's ideas, or perhaps there's a player they doubt their skill level or ideas or work ethic. Something kind of brings like these brings like animosity into their atmosphere, and it's just a big downward spiral, and that's what kills teams. So I think they have a good idea of how they want to play. They stick to it, and win or lose, they still go for it.
All right, sweet answer there, Brax. That was really nice. So.
Thank you. I was reading that off my note cards.
Anyway, DC grouping up for a push down bottom. This tier 1 tower gonna get fortified, but finally will go down. Invoker's actually TPing in for this. Looks like he's gonna blink immediately away. Tornado comes in. They do clip Invoker with that Boundless Strike. They get vision on him before he goes invis, but GH wants to turn this right back around. A Deafening Blast comes in on top of the Echo Slam. Wukong now forced to turn his tail and run, as Invoker will get killed off along with GH. Clockwork's TPing in, and Matumba Man goes straight forward, trying to suck down Abed's damage, but Matumba Man gonna get chased by Mason. 3 heroes dead, trading only for a Crystal Maiden. This is huge for DC. Mind Control forcing himself into his own cogs, hookshotting himself to freedom on top of Mason. But, I mean, even if Mind Control gets out, that is still a huge win for DC. You could tell Liquid had the confidence in that fight to go in and try to execute, but they just got outdone, and now Mason finally forced to retreat. Can't kill off that pesky Clockwork, but they're going to start tapping on tier 3s here.
Perhaps they had too much confidence in the way they wanted to defend it. They, Miracle ported in, blinked in, and he was just in such an awkward position. He couldn't cast his spells in the most optimal way. Got disabled, and he just died at the very beginning of the fight. And that's the lane of racks for DC.
Look how quick those racks melted, just with the damage coming out of Mason right now. This Weaver's been a little bit quiet. Had a couple of deaths in lane, but now really starting to come online. Top of the net worth chart, surpassing the Invoker. Weaver going to do some damage to the shrines. I mean, that is a full lane of racks taken in the blink of an eye, and all it took was 1 Invoker kill just to be able to shut Liquid down completely. DC, can they do that again, or will Liquid learn from their mistakes?
I think Miracle is like, shit guys, I'm sorry, I threw a little bit, I promise I won't do it again, and pretty much, as long as he doesn't die at the very beginning of these team fights by porting in like that it was pretty cocky. I don't think a player like Miracle is going to make that sort of mistake again, but the game's still going to go on for quite some time. Invoker, 3 more levels till his level 25 power spike, looking around the map with his Ghost Walk. I think as long as Team Liquid managed to stay alive, their high ground defense is still insanely good.
Yep, just going in, getting those little picks is going to be super huge. Smoke in. Abed, I mean, he pings something out. He knows that something's a little bit afoot. Miracle is right on their heels. Bulba, meanwhile, just going to be taking a ton of damage, forced into using his borrowed time, just trying to get the most out of it by miscoiling his teammates. Hookshot comes in. Jimmy trapped in the cogs along with Abed. He has his dragon form available. We're going to have a little pause there.
Not again.
As it did really seem like they were asleep at the wheel. These 2 heroes get hookshot into the cogs, and they just kind of stand there. So hopefully some connection issues are going to be resolved. And yeah, hopefully that won't result in too many deaths.
Oh, this is such a shame. You know, this game is so tense right now. Lag. Ugh.
That sucks from Matumba Man. You know, he's really a player of sympathy. Brax, as
I think it's
as a
hard
pro
not
player.
to smile saying that sucks as they die. Definitely pretty hard not to smile there.
So hopefully that's going to be an isolated incident as we move forward. It looks like this team fight is going to be... Bulba has mentioned this before. There was a similar situation in one of their series last night. So try this again as everyone has reconnected. Oh, nope.
Kroki asks for the go. All right, so we've got quite the pause going on here.
All right.
We've got some unhappy video gamers here with the internet situation, so it's a story time, I guess. That's what this is.
All right, Brax.
Time for me to dust off the old 50 Shades of Grey in the closet and read it on stream.
That would be great. I don't think you should do that, though, for the sake of your career. I think at some point we bought a copy for Mott to read on one of the Moonduck videos, but I don't know where it is.
You don't know where it is because he keeps it in his room and reads it every night.
That's probably it. Keeps it under his pillow, gives him good dreams. Anyway, what is your... What's your best tilt story? Where you go into a pro game, something happens, and you just can't get it together?
I have no idea. That's like the worst subject to ask me.
Okay. You give me one.
I am an emotionless robot when it comes to playing games.
That is fair. All right, I'll give you that one. All right, let's get some story time going.
Alright, so you guys are probably pretty familiar out there with Team Digital Chaos's Bulba. You know, he's been around the block, he's been playing Dota for quite some time. Back in the days of Dota 1, when people, everyone played for fun. It wasn't about the glory, the money, it was about being the best and beating your friends. That's pretty much all it was. It was pride back then. There were no gigantic prize pools. There was like one LAN a year, and you would spend more money on your plane flight there than winning if you actually got like first place. So nobody it just wasn't serious. It was in its infancy. It was all for fun, and this is where Bulba began. First, his name was Sam Sosale. Actually, yeah, it was Sam Sosale. Wait, was it Sam? No, it was Sam Baird. This is the first generation of Bulba. He created fake aliases online, linked random people's Facebooks saying that it was him. He really wanted to be a white guy, first of all. Because every dude he linked was like some athletic white dude that he found on his school's Facebook. And that was just him. That was the life of Mr. Kanishka Sosale for quite some time. He went from being Sam Baird to Sam Spalding and to the man we know today, Mr. Sam Bulba Sosale. And that's why you might see pictures of Bulba online, and he's always wearing the same outfit. It's not because he, lacks the wardrobe, or he lacks the money, or that's just his style, or anything like that. It's just because he's trying to remember his identity. He doesn't want to become Sam Baird again. These were some dark, dark days. This is when Bulba was a gigantic flamer. He would sit there, and he would make you question your existence because you frostbit the wrong creep. It was just a mess. And so, that's Bulba.
That was a beautiful story. What happened for Bulba to blossom into the beautiful flower he is today?
He joined Team Evil Geniuses, and he played at TI3 there. And then he was like, uh-oh, I have to make an appearance in real life now.
He has to, be a real person. Okay.
And that's when the mask came off.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus, they're done with this game. Get me out.
So hopefully either PGL communicates with us or we get some ping from the admins letting us know what's up if we're going to do a remake or have the players switch rooms or something. Because, again, I know internet hasn't been a persistent problem for DC. They were talking about it yesterday. So
this is quite the unfortunate situation. I mean, just look at how the fight started. They got jumped. Everyone's asleep because they just can't play the game. It's like they're playing without their hands right now. And I don't know. I mean, what can you really do at this stage of the game? It's not like you can remake and play the game over, or Team Liquid can say, hey, you guys can walk away scot-free, we won't touch you. That's not how the game works. All they can do is play the game at their lost team fight.
this is truly Gabe trying to handicap DC because he's scared of what they can truly accomplish.
No, don't tell me Gabe bet on Liquid.
You heard
it's
it here,
not for
guys.
the rares.
Oh no, my career. Anyway, hopefully we get underway. We've got the lone Mason sitting here watching his team burn. Okay, let's talk about what's going on the map right here, because again, there was a hook shot onto two. Crystal Maiden and Dragonite caught in the cogs. They were lagged out, so they couldn't respond immediately. I was wondering why DK didn't immediately Dragon Form or BKB, but how did DC recover this fight? They've clearly had some time to look at the screen, figure out what's going on. What's the best way back into this? How do they salvage it?
Well, they can only salvage it by kind of cutting their losses and trying to survive with as many people as can. Mason is going to run away. He has the BKB, so it's pretty unlikely he'll get caught since the hook shot's down. Jimmy, he just force-staffed out of the cogs, so he's pretty dead. I imagine Clockwork is going to try to run from him. Maybe Abed can BKB and stun the Clockwork, so Crystal Maiden survives, but I'm pretty sure that Invoker's just going to run him down. Crystal Maiden's dead. Weaver's alive. DK might die just because these heroes are so speedy. The Razor runs at like 500 and something, moves to get 521. Invoker can also run him down forever. Monkey King might just throw down the zoning Wukong's command to try to save Dragon Knight, but he kind of doesn't want to do that. He wants to survive as well, so this sucks. They're just dead.
Is this where DC just has to cut their losses and everyone that can get out, and don't even try to take the fight?
Yeah, definitely, but I don't know how many people will survive. Mason probably survives for sure, but Abed's probably going to go down here since Razor and... what's his face? Magician, man. Invoker. They're very fast.
We've got all of DC now back online, reconnected to the game, but we'll see. Got one more second here. Dubu just trying to get his mind together, trying to figure out what he goes for here. We haven't talked a whole lot about the Monkey King's build. I mean, he picked up the Basher. We talked about how that's going to really amplify the Wukong's command, but also a Shadow Blade, so we can really get those sneaky ults going.
Yeah, that Shadow Blade helps him sit at the edge of his Wukong's command.
Come on, Matumba. Oh my.
Yup.
Brax, how was your day?
My day was fantastic. I'm here talking about Dota at like whatever odd hour it is right now. It's great. Doesn't get better than this. 4 a.m. Sitting here at a pause screen.
Yeah. And
Oh no, not the thumbs down. This is some serious. This is getting pretty deep.
what's
You guys
the
don't wanna flame
nastiest emote? Like, what is the most ferocious, bad-mannered emote you could put in chat as a pro player? Well, everyway, we are underway in a fight here. Razor going to be TPing into a super low health creep. What on earth was that? As DC are turning this around, they get off the Wukong's command. There will be a Sunstrike to finish off Demon Miracle. Now on the run, a Dust is going to miss. DC somehow get together, turn this fight into a pretty okay thing for themselves. They do have to lose that Crystal Maiden like we talked about. Bulba also was dead right at the start of that pause, but they managed to turn things for an Earthshaker and get the rest of their heroes out.
Yep, not bad at all. They managed to get the Earthshaker kill there. DK finds him in the trees, gives him the stun. He's dead. And of course, Jimmy gets sniped by the Tornado Sunstrike. Honestly, it just kills him at full HP right now. Like, it's a sad life for Crystal Maiden right now.
Yeah, like, I don't even know if you call that a loss. DC technically had more bodies hit the floor, but I am astonished that they managed to salvage that. I thought it was going to be way worse.
Razor TP getting cancelled on the creep there. Definitely. He's got 500 HP, Shieldless Guard, Sanjin Yasha, can chase these people down forever.
Alright, so back to it. What is the most BM emote? I'm curious now.
Curious
Yeah.
about the emote, not the game.
Well, we were all deep into story time, and then the fight broke out.
I think they're all kind of, they all kind of suck. I guess the Pudge one.
Okay, that's fair. Anyway, back into it. We have got lines drawn in the sand. It seems like DC, they want to go in and pressure this top lane. Again, they already took out a successful lane of Rax here. You got Supers pushing in bottom. Matumba going to show himself in the mid lane, going on to Abed. They get the static link off, but Abed should be able to force himself back. It's going to be 3 heroes cuddled up underneath the Warlock ult. Bulba just trying to sit there and tank it for the team. He's got his Blade Mail rocking, but I don't know if it's going to be enough here. Crystal Maiden, of course, already dead, and now Bubble trapped without his ult. It's looking dangerous, but Matumba does have to back off. It's just going to be GH and the Golems finishing off the job. Miracle snaps up the kill for that. Mason goes in and finds a sneaky kill on GH on the back lines, but now Mason forced to go and solo up against Invoker. They're just going to cut ties, walk their separate ways, and in the end, it will be a 1 for 2.
Yep, so much damage there stolen from the Razor. He had like plus 221 damage there, along with the Alacrity. He actually almost killed himself on the Blade Mill. Thank God he didn't. That would have been a very, very sad way to go out.
Yep.
But we have some 25s coming out in this game. Invoker picked up his 25 AoE Deafening Blast, actually.
Alright, we
And
are
the,
pretty used to seeing the Tornado, but that's going to be a big way to break up these team fights.
Yep, it's much less effective against these heroes that already have BKBs. But maybe he's hoping he can push the Monkey King outside of his ultimate. And Weaver is also about to hit his 25 pretty soon. That plus 200 Chikuchi movement speed turn into a race car.
You think there's any chance that Mason goes in for the 35 magic resist against a team with an Invoker?
Definitely not. I think the Chikuchi movement speed is way too good. It like enables you to sell your boots, so you actually have 6 real items later on in the game, and you can kind of just keep your boots of travel as your 7th slot in your backpack to TP around.
Weaver goes in for the Heart of Tarask, definitely not messing around here, just wants to be tanky enough to live through these fights.
DC are playing with the Rax advantage right now, so Roshan is definitely something that they have a bit of an advantage over with that constant bottom lane pressure. They can play on the opposite side of the map and really make Liquid walk around.
Yep. Roshan. See when it's going to be up. About 10 more seconds till we see if it's a long or short respawn, but no more than 4 or 5 minutes for that guy, and obviously DC in a better position to take it. But Liquid, I mean, if they actually get their act together and go for a nice smoke, you've got Invoker now at that huge deafening blast, they can have a good Roche fight if they get this off to a good start.
Yep, Roshan is definitely scary. They have the big AoE ultimates, Warlock, Earthshaker, even Invoker spells. Pretty dangerous for
Radiant's
DC to
bottom
fight
tower is
in
under
that kind of an
attack.
area, but if they have control of it already, then it helps them position properly in the trees to land that big Wukong's command. Kind of come from different angles.
Look at that tornado. Just catching out everyone here. Lincoln's popped. Disarm onto the Weaver, but he's just going to be scuttling away. Liquid do not want to let this tier 2 go down. That's going to be way further loss of control over the Roche pit. Now they are going to be able to clip the Weaver back. They get him into the EMP, so mana burned up, but Mason can just sit back and let that Crystal Maiden aura do its magic.
But now Team Liquid smoked up looking for something.
Yeah, probably just going to be poking their heads into the Roche pit. Still another minute till it spawns. They'll be at least in a good position to go for it. It looks like they want to go for some kills as well. Matumba Man just charging it onto Bulba. Bulba's going to shield, but still a lot of damage being stolen. They hold Bulba in place while Matumba just goes to work. Look at this, it's raking up. Over 200 going his way. Now Bulba going to be popping into that ult. They got a really nice Wukong's command going down. Kuroki channeling up a fairly solid upheaval as Abed sits in the Wukong's command. They will be able to get 4 heroes down. Kuroki, one of the lone survivors, just using his golems to try to kill Bulba, but it's not going to be successful. They trade Crystal Maiden for 5 heroes. Liquid are down now for a minute. Invoker dead for over 80 seconds with no buyback. This is a free Roche, and I don't even think they're stopping for Roche. They're going straight in for this mid-Rax.
Yep, they're definitely going to force some buybacks here. Invoker just dies again at the beginning of the fight. DK blinks on him, stuns him, someone breaks the Lincoln Sphere, and he just dies in one stun pretty much. And the Wukong's command in that position there, Bulba managed to bait back the entirety of Team Liquid into that nice little choke point where they had to run through the entire Wukong's command, and just did so much damage. Even though Monkey King doesn't have the highest net worth, once he starts picking up these items, he really starts to really feel it in these team fights.
Yep, you got Earthshaker up. Earthshaker is the only one alive. Yeah, he's got a Blink Echo, but I think he's got to play this a little bit safe. Clockwork now coming back in. Bulba's got his ult ready if he needs to. DK just jumping forward. They want to keep Liquid dead. Earthshaker going down for a minute with no buybacks. Buybacks are few and far between. They're going to be taking out the second lane of Rax.
Looking like game.
It sure is. DC, they just pick up that momentum even after a very quirky disconnect and pause in a fight that looked like it could be lost. They get themselves together. Mind control now trapped in the trees. Abed is hammering on the cogs. There will be one big last hold from Matumba Man who moves forward, draining down a lot of damage out of Dubu. He's still waiting for those 12 seconds. That Wukong's command is going to be huge. Meanwhile, Clockwork locked in under Demon's ult. Demon's still alive through this. It feels weird with Crystal Maiden not dead, but you know, that'll take care of itself. Yeah, he's going to be going down eventually. Mason still trying to fight with the last bit of his life. Abed moving forward here. He's tanky. Matumba Man going to get stunned up by the Dragon Tail. They're burning him down. They will get the Razor. Immediate buyback onto him, but it looks like they're trying for Megas. It's going to be tricky there. Mass TPs come forward. Abed may have overstayed his welcome here. Does end up going down as we've got just a splash of spells coming out of Liquid. So DC, they're going to back off here, accepting that they may have stayed in a bit too long.
Radiant's top tower.
Yep, Team Liquid managed to hold out their base, but they've lost so much of their base already. They got one side of Rax remaining, no tier 3 towers left, and it's gonna be, they just, I don't know, these fights are so strange. They keep like chasing this Abaddon with Blade Mail on into these choke points where Wukong's command comes out, even Crystal Maiden ultimate comes out, and Weaver can find his way into the back lines. He kills Warlock in like 3 hits, even the Shaker dies extremely fast.
Weaver
So
now
hard.
full Bloodthorn on him, so Mason, he can go in. He's got that disable. He's got his own heart, so he can stay in these fights a pretty long time. And again, still Aegis. Still has not been popped. Going to be up for a little while longer on him. So this is time for Liquid to actually get out of their base, to get active, and they've got a couple of minutes before they're really going to start feeling the pressure of these 2 lanes of super creeps, but they've got to go in, they've got to push, they've got to get a lane of Rax or at least a couple kills here, or it seems like they might just fizzle.
One thing they do have going for them is that Dragon Knight does not have buyback at all right now, so perhaps Team Liquid can force a team fight that DC don't exactly want to take.
Tower has fallen.
Seems like Liquid gonna play this one safe, just trying to clear out the exterior towers, get all the tier 2s, make the creeps have to work a little bit harder. to get out.
Radiant's top
But
tower
big
is
smoke
under
in. It
attack.
seems like DC, they're trying to end it all here. Mason, with that extra scoochy speed, is just going so fast. Now they're finding mind control here. He's going to force himself to freedom, eating his way out of the cogs. There is going to be many, many things to hold him in place. Dubu going back in. Has to be a little bit careful there. Hook shot out. Liquid spending a good amount of spells just to get out safely here. But no blood.
Could make it out, but well, their heroes aren't the worst in the world for dealing with these super creeps. They have 2 boots of travels on their heroes. Earthshaker can also start to clear out some of these players if needed. And yeah, I don't know. There's just so many things that they can't deal with right now. This Dragon Knight has 60 armor. So once his BKB is up and he like dodges the meatball damage and everything, he probably is not going down in this fight. The only way he can actually die is once his BKB is out, he gets hit by all these spells. But of course with the Blink Dagger, he can kind of get in there and force them to fight them, especially with that Bloodthorn. He can now pop the Invoker Lincoln Sphere. Miracle just picked up his 10-second BKB, so perhaps he can use that in the next fight to stay alive a bit longer.
And I think it's going to be down to DC's initiation. If they go in, if they can continually find those backline picks. You know, we saw Blink in, Blink Dragon Tail coming out. That'll be pretty nice for them, but Liquid, again, they've got good high ground, and now all their heroes are up. This is going to be a very different push than we saw just a couple of minutes ago, and they're smoked up. They want to get aggressive. They want to take the initiation here. They're leaving their base, and it seems like DC are going to get surprised by that. They start things off with a really nice Echo Slam. Golem's going to be dropped out on top of that. They kill off the Monkey King, and now Abed getting all his damage drained, trying to man-fight Miracle, but it's not working out. Abed going to be going down, and Bulba popping on his borrowed time. Meanwhile, Kuroki will get focused down by Mason. It's on Mason to turn this fight around and get out of here, as Bulba probably going to be finished off here. Mason's going to BKB, getting in there, going deep, trying to get down Matumba Man. Couple more hits, it'll be done, and they will be able to get him with the Mist Coil from Abaddon. With Bulba's last breath, he takes out Matumba Man, and now Mason goes in, shows off that new Bloodthorn, goes in onto the Clockwork, but won't be able to finish him off. Instead, goes for the retreat. The Deafening Blast clips the Weaver. Can they finish him off here? He's going to be able to go time-lapse himself to freedom, and Mason should be able to TP back, has it in his backpack, so very messy fight, but Liquid holds. Liquid get a 2,700 gold lead from that. XP is going to be huge as well. Mason's going to go back to full health as that Aegis expires, but he's still going to TP out, not going to take his chances.
Yep, nice play from Liquid. They realize, hey, once they hit in our base and they jump us first, we're not going to win in this fight. We need to smoke up, set up a defense outside of the base. They jumped the Monkey King there and killed him before he could do anything, and they're able to get to their key targets. When they get to jump like that, then it's easier for them to actually get their BKBs off at a good moment, you know? Invoker get all the spells off instantly there. They had a nice ward up on the hill, and that's just what they needed to take the fight.
So Liquid still alive, still kicking, about 10,000 net worth in favor of DC. Experience is actually going to be slightly in favor of Liquid, looking at overall levels. Lots of 25s coming out for our cores. Bulba, the last core, going to be ticking that mark. And what does he go for here? Is he going to go for the big boy shield or strength?
It's pretty much always the shield. The shield becomes ridiculous once you get that talent. 500 HP on such a low cooldown, and once he finishes that off-domain core as well, it's such a low.
Yep. Warlock going to be picking up his level 25 pretty shortly as well. And is he going to go for the magic immunity golems? This one we see a bit more of a split on.
Yeah, it's definitely game dependent. I think he'll go for the armor this game just because there's a lot of physical damage coming out from DCT. But it feels like one of the less important 25s this game. I don't really feel like it's going to be quite that impactful, but Team Liquid, they're smoked up. There's a refresher now on Miracle and Invoker. They know exactly what they need to do to win this next fight.
Looks like they're going to go for the same exact maneuver, wrapping around the same way, and we'll see if DC are going to learn from their mistakes earlier. Flare being sent out, there's mad pings, both teams know where the others are, but it's a bit of no man's land as no one wants to cross that threshold and be the first one to be jumped on. Mason going to be scooting forward. Again, still has that BKB, 6 seconds, it's wearing a little bit thin, but he's going to move in, tries to initiate onto Earthshaker, but GH just blinks right out.
Yep, Team Liquid are looking for some heroes like Monkey King that they can jump. Heroes that really need to set up in these team fights. They don't want to jump the Weaver or the DK like that. They're really tanky and it's not going to do very much for them because they just need to catch this Monkey out. If they have to take that team fight inside the Wukong's command again, they're just not going to win.
Yep. Liquid, I mean, you can feel they're starting to feel a little bit of pressure from these 2 lanes of super creeps coming in, and super creeps, I mean, they scale pretty nicely as the game goes on. We're 15 minutes in. How late does this have to go before super creeps become something that Liquid can't deal with?
3 hours.
All right, pray for us.
Yeah, unlikely, but you know, DC, they're a bit more hesitant this time. They're giving their respects to Liquid here. They know that this isn't going to be the best thing for them. They're going to wait for Roshan, play it safely, perhaps farm up a new item or two. Mason sitting on 5,000 gold, but he does have an empty slot available since Ditch's boots things. That excellent level 25 Shikuchi movement speed talent.
Alright, things get intense. I mean, DC, they can taste the freedom here. They can taste this game being won, but they just gotta go in. They gotta finish off this lane of racks. They gotta get just a couple of picks. It's getting really difficult, though, and all of Liquid are up. Their high ground is stupid good, so it seems like Roshan is gonna be the play. Got Courier scouting out the pit for the Radiant. You got Dire with Sunstrikes and Rocket Flares, keeping everything scouted. Mad pings in the Courier here, and well, Roshan will be up in about another minute. And that's going to be looking good for DC to take, unless Liquid really get their act together and leave their base exposed.
Yeah, I think it's quite dangerous for Liquid to leave their base. Once they journey out into this uncharted territory, they're going to be running through wards. If Team DC decide to take any team fights on their vision, it's going to be extremely bad for Liquid because they won't be able to jump the heroes they want. The only real way that they can win a fight convincingly is if they're able to jump the Monkey King. These other cores from Team DC are just really tanky.
Yeah, it's getting tough now. Everyone getting 6 slotted, everyone really getting up there. Looking at buyback, we've got most of our cores having it, and Voker just picks up enough money for it now. Mason needs another 100 gold for it, so he's got to play this one a little bit safe. He's going in for that butterfly here and should have it up pretty nicely. Now, Rocket Flare goes in, does scout the Roche respawn, so Liquid know what's up. But it looks like DC, they are all over this, and look at this thing melt. Wow, okay, that was a very quick Roche for 15 minutes in the game. Aegis still unclaimed, will finally be picked up by Mason. Looks like DK backpacking the cheese, gonna let it age a little bit.
Mason picks a butterfly now. He's got his BKB in the stash. He can switch that in when his Aegis runs out. Do it during the respawn, so there's actually almost no downtime.
I mean, DC, it feels like they're just trying to close it out, but they realize, you know, just going in, running into the same lane in the same way may not work. Is the Aegis enough to really break that cycle up? Is Mason going in more aggressively going to be what it takes for DC to crack this, or do they need to shake up their strategy?
Well, they'll definitely need to start the engagement somehow, or else Invoker is just going to throw these spells out and really push back the wave. They're hoping that they can get engagement off. They're smoked up here. If they can chain stun this Invoker, they can definitely take this fight.
It's all about tactically breaking that high ground without letting anyone know where you are. All of Liquid have moved back. You had some pushing out the bottom lane, but they have since TP'd in. And they're ready to go for this high ground hold. It's really difficult, Liquid trying to anticipate which lane's going to get pushed in, and it looks like Demon maybe thinking about going in, jumping on Kuroki, and that's going to be the jump they need. They go in, quick Dragon Tail, and my god, that Warlock is just punched to bits. Matumba Man goes in, he'll be able to get the static link off onto Abed. Abed getting a lot of damage stolen. Man, Matumba Man is not messing around, just popped everything for that. Eye of the Storm on cooldown. Matumba Man's stolen damage is still going to be doing a lot of work here. Crystal Maiden caught in the cogs. She's going to be dancing with her last breath, but will end up going down. But now we got BKBs coming out of DC. They're going forward. They get the kill on the Warlock. That was another dieback coming in, and well, they go forward. Looks like GH will end up dropping the gem on the deck. There is a disarm on this Dragon Knight, and that might just be what it takes for Miracle to get him down, but Bulba still chasing him out. The Sunstrike going to be off the mark. Meanwhile, top lane, Monkey King keeping his eyes on the prize, going in for those megas. Got Miracle now running back in with that Ghost Walk, but Abed wasting no time going into GH. That is a dieback on the Earthshaker. Matumba Man gets killed right in the footsteps of his base. It's Mega Creeps now, and Liquid, they're buying back on the Razor. They're giving it all they've got, but this is definitely their last-ditch effort. Weaver crawling around into the base. It's a godlike streak for Mason, and it's looking good for Team DC. Going in, Razor, he's stealing up the damage, but he will end up going down. Invoker buys back in. Mind Control trying to bait everyone out of the base, but with Mega Creeps, it's so difficult. DC, they've still got all but the Monkey King alive. Eventually, they get down the Clockwork. The gem falls as well. Buyback comes in from the Clockwork. Tornado clips onto the Dragon Knight. They will be able to combo him down with a Sunstrike, but Yeah, mind control, still just trying to zone. The Ancient now exposed. This is Liquid letting things drag on altogether a little bit too long, as that's a rampage for Mason. GG finally comes out 53 minutes into the game after a hefty pause and some serious back and forth action, but DC will take game 1 of their series versus Liquid.
Yeah, well played, both teams. Game was definitely back and forth.
Sure was, Brax.
Yeah, I can't remember the game after that pause. Jesus.